playing a movie. Granted, a very long scene where you're riding nothing but a horse and there's nothing else going on, but it was timed perfect. So even though I liked the way they utilized the music, it really did take away, for a brief moment, the feeling of being in a Western. I would have I wouldn't have minded having some contemporary feeling song that had a Western feel to it, but I'm like surf rock for this. Don't tell me I'm heading to a beach and this guy's gonna get off the horse and start surfing and fighting zombies that way. You know, I don't.
Well, it was kind of an indicator that that the developers didn't really take the whole thing seriously. That it was, they treated it with, they put out the best product that they could, but it was all kind of a fun gag.
I guess the other thing is, like I said, there are so many side missions to do that it's okay to give people side missions, but sometimes they can get redundant. I mean, if when you get a side mission, you're going off and you're doing the same thing over and over again, essentially. And here it's like when I was saving people, it's like I'd go somewhere and it's another person standing on top of something really high trying to defend themselves against zombies, and I got to shoot these zombies and get them. I understand, like, this is a downloadable game, so they probably couldn't get that creative with some of these side missions, but anyway, it's you don't have to do them, so I don't know what I'm complaining about.
I was just about to say that one of the things you may have missed out from not playing Red Dead Redemption is just how desolate the landscape is, because the cool thing about the first one is that it's so lively with the whole Western feel. Like, there's so many people, like, in the towns and stuff like that. So when I played Undead Nightmare, like, I was just, like, shocked at how quiet it was, because it's usually quite a lively place. So, I mean, like, when you got stuck right in, you didn't. There's hardly anyone around apart from the zombies. So.
Well, that desolation just adds to the game. I mean, it's not, like I said, it's not a scary game. It's more of an action comedy game, and when I say comedy, I'm using that in the best sense here, like very clever comedy. But still, there's an eerie atmosphere over everything. I mean, right down to like when the sun sets, you hear that music. And all that kind of stuff. And like I said, the controls are really easy to get into. I never played Red Dead Redemption right when I picked up the controller. I think, and that's the thing, the game moves fast too. That you tie your wife and your son up at the beginning of the game when they get turned into zombies, and you ride off to the first town saying, I got to find the doctor to find a cure. And right when you ride into town, you're thinking like, I'm going to have a conversation with the doctor. Things are going to gradually build up from there as I get explanations. And no, the moment I got into town, I got off the horse, and right around the corner, this zombie comes running out.
Right.
I had never really played the game, so I'm running my ass up. I don't know how to do anything, and they tore my ass up. So, but after that, it's almost like I learned to run real fast after that.
That's the thing, is the zombies are tough. You think, oh yeah, they just, they walk slow and they shamble along and it's not going to be a problem. Oh no, they will beat your ass down.
Oh.
It doesn't take long either. Once it's like, especially if the bruiser, because there are certain types of zombies, if the bruiser hits you and knocks you to the ground, and then a swarm of them is close by, you're done.
Oh yeah, no. There's they have a variety of zombies in here too. You have your regular zombies who are pretty fast. All of them are running after you, and then they have the belchers, which are zombies that belch like fluorescent green vomit. And then you have what are those things? The crawlers or the leapers or whatever. Those things like are hunched over. They run like chimpanzees. And then you have the bruisers, which are just big fat guys who they seem slow at first, but then they get that El Toro thing going on. They're like, and they just run after you and knock you over. Yeah, exactly. Big ass linebacker. And these things, man, if you stand still for a moment, you have to keep running, because if you don't, they will gang up on you. They will bring you down to the ground. They will kick you. I saw some zombies kicking me while I was down. One of them took my wallet and ran off with
Rodney King! Rodney King!
One of them ran off with my sneakers, with my cowboy boots. It was terrible, man. And you learn right quickly just how to defend yourself. And look, there's so many fun things to do in this game. Not to mention, we've talked extensively about the single player campaign, but you also have like the multiplayer, which is, if you've ever played, what is it, Call of Duty, the mini game with the zombies, the Nazis that come through the window. Nazi zombies, yeah. Where it's just there you go.
I know you're reaching for that one. You couldn't remember that complicated title.
The zombies who are Nazis,
Man, fuck y'all.
You Nazi zombies?
Yeah, them. You know what I'm talking about. No, then in that game, it's just hordes of Nazi zombies coming after you. You can't stop them. You have to just play until you die. Well, they have a game like this here where you just run around with friends trying to fight just hordes and hordes of zombies that keep coming after you until you just expire, until they kill you, they overrun you. And I think that's what it's called, Undead Overrun. So
I think so.
Yeah.
I haven't played any of the multiplayer yet, and that's something I'm missing out on. I know they borrowed a lot of it from like Left 4 Dead or something like that, but I haven't tried any of it. And I was going to ask you guys what you thought. There are a couple of different new. There's Undead Overrun and Horde or something like that.
Yeah.
The
Undead Overrun is fun, man. It's a fast paced moving game. You have to, and like here, I never people say how you run out of ammunition really fast in the game, and it's scarce. I never had a problem with that at all.
Really?
I looted every dead body that I killed. Yeah, everything. If I shot a plant, I checked that plant's pockets to see if there was money or ammunition in it. So yeah.
Well, one of the weapons is one of the new weapons that's introduced in this pack is the blunderbuss. An old-fashioned rifle, like 17th century, and the ammo that you use for it are zombie body parts.
Yeah. When you get this weapon, like you loot everything that you kill. Even if you kill an innocent person, you get off your horse and you're like, hey, I'm sorry, but I don't want you.
Too sorry.
Yeah, not too sorry. I don't want your death to be in vain. Sorry about that. Let me go ahead and pick your pockets right here. And you usually get ammunition off of these dead corpses. It gets to a point where if dead corpses don't have ammunition on them, then it'll say something like you got undead ears or undead teeth or undead nose or something, and you use that to like put it in your blunderbuster or Buster Keaton or whatever it is, and you put stuff in there and it just obliterates any zombie in your way. So yeah, you check everything, and if you do that, you never run out of ammunition. And you're also going to have to give people ammunition when you do these things to help them defend their towns. And I never ran out of ammunition no matter what I did. I was always great. But there is a part of when you're playing the multiplayer where you run out of ammunition really fast, and things are moving so fast that you have to like check coffins and you have to check bodies to get all these to get your ammunition back. And this just moves so fast that it's hard. But it's a lot of fun. It's very fast paced. If you're playing it with friends, like I said, I usually don't play multiplayer and I don't have that many friends online, but just playing with strangers was a lot of fun. So look, this is a full price game. I mean, if you can't pay full price for $10, then you're a cheap son of a bitch. I mean, this is a great. They could have got away with charging, and I'm almost scared to say anything. They could have got away with charging $20 for this, and I swear to God, nobody would have complained.
It is the best value since the orange box.
Yeah, it is. One of the best games that I played this year. Not one of the best downloadable games. One of the best games I played this year. Now, granted, I've only played like about 4 games this year all the way through, but it's still a great game.
You want to use that to parlay that conversation into talking about the downloadable games?
Yes, I do, because what they did with this, I mean, I don't know how long they had this plan. Now, you guys are telling me that they were going to make a zombie game, and then they said, well, let's just make it part of Red Dead Redemption, a downloadable pack for Red Dead Redemption, and we'll do it that way. And what they did was they released it very close to Halloween. So you have a zombie pack to a game that had nothing to do with anything supernatural or monsters or anything, and decided to kind of make it a Halloween theme by releasing it close to when Halloween was coming out. And I think that what we're starting to see here, given the quality of this game, how they timed it, the kind of theme that they gave it, we're starting to see people take more seriously downloadable content. And not only that, but also just kind of be a little more creative with it too. And it kind of has me excited for what the future of downloadable games is going to be like.
I think basically all the content is going to be downloadable in the next generation. I mean, I think we're going to see the end of plastic medium anyway. Discs and cartridges and cards. I don't think that's going to stay. So I agree, because basically all the games are going to be online. I mean, they're kind of moving in that direction now, and I think that within like 2 and 3 years from now, that will just be the de facto standard way of getting everything. So
yeah, I do too. I think at some point now, the only thing that we're running into with this is the main hurdle. I think with things moving towards a more downloadable content model is bandwidth. I mean, because they're starting to put bandwidth caps on everything. I mean, Nick, in Europe, don't they do that already?
Well, what do you mean by bandwidth?
Well, they allow you only so much bandwidth to download something, and then after that, they either cut you off or they charge you more. Is that true? Or
apparently, like, I'm probably told, like, my internet's been bugged up for, like, for a couple of weeks because they say that I've exceeded my download limit, which is, apparently I downloaded 60 gigabytes within 30 days, which is absolutely bollocks because, that's more room that's on my laptop. But,
see, that's the thing is that, internet and data providers like AT&T with the iPhone and stuff like that, they are starting to clamp down on how much you download, which is fucking ridiculous because they think that they're thwarting people who do torrents and stuff like that. Well, I use Netflix all the time, Netflix streaming, and so I shudder to think if I were to use the Netflix app on my iPhone because I'm going to get $1,000 bill one day when I go over my limit or whatever. And, that's something that's really going to put a cramp in this download-only venue for downloading games. I think it's a brilliant idea. I think it's great. I think it'll ideally make for cheaper games. But, the providers are going to screw us.
You're looking at just an issue where it comes to the back end as far as their ability to provide, like AT&T, for instance, their ability to provide that speed for an ever-growing all-you-can-eat market was not possible because they haven't amped up their back end to be able to support that many people having the internet activity on their phone. So they had to start to limit it. And, people say that's bullshit and everything like that, but in reality, it is true. These cell phone towers don't really have like super high speed fiber optic connections always running into them. A lot of them are just kind of slow, and you have to go out and rebuild them in order to support this. And that's what like 4G is going to allow, and probably 5G, fifth generation wireless, to provide all of that back end. And I think the same thing is true for people's home use. I mean, I don't have any bandwidth caps. I mean, but I pay a lot of money for my internet. But I think most people are like that. I think though what you got to look at is Apple is a major player in this now, and they have basically a game device. A couple of them: iPad, iPhone, iPod Touch, and they are selling games at a breakneck pace, making billions of dollars doing it, and they are the only distributor of those games. All of it done online, no physical media whatsoever. And if you're Nintendo or you're Sony or you're Microsoft, you're not going to want to be the guy that's making less money because you're providing options that are being left behind. Apple's next generation iPad, or in 3 years, their third generation iPad is going to be a really powerful gaming device, and the other gaming companies have to compete. And so, honestly, with the way Steam is, with the way Xbox Live downloadable content is, PSN downloadable content, it's all moving there. You're always going to be able to plug in a memory card, or there's always going to be the guy that wants backwards compatibility, so he's going to be able to put a disc in, or somebody that lives out in Wyoming who doesn't have internet, he's going to be able to download it to a memory card. But the primary way everybody's going to start to get games is going to be through online distribution.
Most of the downloadable games that we've seen today have been under the title of casual. They're games that you get that are short, or they're games that are puzzle games that you use as time wasters. And right now we're starting to see the downloadable game, at least as an add-on, be something that can extend the life of a game and bring characters back that you've learned to love and do different things with them. I mean, I think we're starting to see an area of experimentation for that model of game. I mean, I think you're going to see them, instead of concentrating, you're going to see certain developers, instead of concentrating on the next big massive sequel to a game, maybe in the meantime, while you're waiting for that game or before they even work on that game, they're going to say, well, we can still have fun with this particular game right here just by releasing, smaller add-ons to it. And smaller mean what's that, Kevin?
They're definitely going to go where the money is. If you're a publisher, you're not going to be sitting around thinking about, how you're going to, make the game. You're looking at the money. You're looking at the dollars. I don't know. You vote with your dollars. People buy games.
Yeah.
It depends on the DLC, actually, Kevin, because if, like Mass Effect 2, everyone is, I love that game, and I can't wait for the sequel. But until then, they're still doing this DLC which continues the story. And I think if you look in that perspective, like if they're doing something constructive, like continuing with the story of your favorite characters, then I'm all up for that. But what Jason was saying before about all these bug patches and stuff like that, so that is a bit of an annoyance. But if we're allowed to experience a continuation of a game that we already like with Red Dead Redemption or Mass Effect 2, I think lesser of two evils.
Look, do you want to be known as the company that releases fucked up games? What I mean?
Depends what company you are, though.
It does.
I mean,
EA doesn't give two shits because they've been like pumping out sequel after sequel of Medal of Honor. Give after like who gives a shit about another World War II
I'm
game.
just saying, at least release a game that works every other game. Go ahead and release a game that has a bug in it if you want to, but give me a couple of games in between that work, so just something to let you know that you care. I mean, bend me over and screw me, but kiss me on the back of the neck every now and then.
But the thing is, though, it's like EA. I think it's like 20th Century Fox in a manner. They're really kind of about the money, whereas in companies like BioWare, Ubisoft, or Rockstar, they do care about their content. So most of these DLCs will be stuff like either a continuation of a story, or it's going to be like, hey, we've got new weapons, new multiplayer modes. In fact, most of these patches, like by EA, are just like, oh, great, we've got like new multiplayer maps, yay! Like who gives a shit?
Well, listen, this is what I'm mainly looking for with this downloadable content stuff. Well, besides it working, is that I want to see things like what they've done here. I want to see a game that takes me in another direction with a character. Maybe they continue a story that we didn't see. Maybe there was a part of the game where they didn't tell you what happened with this character. You just heard about it, and you get to play that part of the story. I mean, I see downloadable content for games becoming like comic books, where you see things, maybe you can even have characters interact with each other from another game, or like I said, you see a parallel story happening, or a story that you didn't know about, or you follow another character from that particular game off into their own story. And
Korey, what happens in your scenario or whatever, or your own personal thought process here, if you're playing a game and you're enjoying it? Let's playing this Red Dead Redemption.
What happens in your crazy little world?
I know that's what it sounds like Kevin is saying to me. What happens in your little retarded world, Korey, that nobody else can relate to?
You spend $60 on the game. Now, this is just a what-if scenario, right? You spend $60 on the game. Kind of Nick brought this up, too, with Kane and Lynch. And let's say it's like Red Dead Redemption, though, and it's a really good game, but it only lasts like 3 hours. And then it's like the game's over. And now they're saying to you, do you want to buy more downloadable content for more money?
No.
I mean, at what point do you say the game is long enough to warrant the downloadable content?
Listen, man, it's like this. Give me a choice. Like this game, I got 9 hours of gameplay out of it. I could have got 6 hours and actually been cool with that, but for $10, yeah. But I got 9 hours of gameplay out of it, and I got a complete story. Now, if I play a game and I get to the end of it, I'm about to fight the big boss at the end, or I'm about to like go through the door to carry me to that next level, and then it stops and a screen comes up that says, well, if you want to continue, plug in $10 more for this other downloadable content for the rest of the story, and then you can find out what happens next. And that's what I'm going to be like.
They wouldn't do that though. I mean, like, there's only one game I could think of that has that kind of scenario which you're talking about, which is Alan Wake, which I haven't even played.
But I'm saying, but Alan Wake did it, and we had to talk about this one time before, and I'm saying, like, and that's where I'm going to feel gypped.
People got pissed off about it.
I'm going to feel like I just got a prostitute. I'm about to climax, and she's like, well, I'm standing up until you give me $10 more, and then I'll get you off. And it's like, you know what? I feel like I haven't got my money's worth. I feel like I'm being screwed right there, without being able to come yet. And then I don't.
I want to see you have that conversation with a prostitute. Well, I feel like I haven't gotten my money.
You know what? That conversation wouldn't go like that. It'll be like, well, let me run down to this 7-Eleven to the ATM machine. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere, okay?
Let me call Leon, see if he'll swap me some cash.
Yeah. Jason, are you at home?
Right. Again, Korey, you got another quote-unquote DLC?
Man, that's as long as I'm getting a self-contained game, and I feel like I've gotten my money's worth out of it, I'm fine with that. Now, if they want to release another story, that's a complete story or a complete section or a complete game, I have the option of wanting to continue with that or not.
Rockstar, apparently, downloadable content, good to go. But a lot of these other companies are, I don't know. I mean, I'm gun shy from it because I spent money on a lot of downloadable content and found it to be lacking. I mean, even the Mass Effect, like the first one, had a DLC mission in it, which was pointless, really. It was like I already beat the game, and then there was downloadable content, and I played it, and it was kind of like one extra mission where I went out like a planet.
Did you buy it? Did you buy it? Because I got it for free.
Yeah, I actually paid for it, right.
Well, listen, that's the thing. That's what I'm talking about. Companies are going to have to be creative with it. They're not going to, I think right now, people are just starting to get into exploring the possibilities of this kind of content. I mean, you got Rockstar, who obviously is ahead of the game with this now. They know what they're doing. And other companies are going to have to kind of probably use Rockstar as the model of how to effectively do downloadable content, not only to give the consumers their money's worth, but also how these companies can maximize on their profits by not charging too much on the right stuff to release, not jipping the consumers with shoddy downloadable content. I mean, something that's really nice, creative, and fun. I mean, it's out there, and I think, and you're right, Kevin. Look, it's either going to go one way or another. I mean, maybe this whole downloadable thing is something of the past. It might not be anything. We might not see it happen again. This just might be one little incident right here. I mean, I hope not, because I thought that this was a lot of fun.
Oh, I'm not saying that at all.
Plus, I ain't got $60 goddamn to keep spending on games too.
Where do you? How do you? I mean, I guess you got to listen to the reviews on Spill to find out if the downloadable content's worth your while. Because I just don't know where you go to find out if it's something as good as the one that's in Red Dead Redemption, or if it's going to be something kind of crappy like the one that was in Mass Effect 1.
Yeah, and look, and I think that this is a genius way of doing business if you actually know how to do it. I mean, I'm that idiot. All right, I'm that fool where you keep giving me something for $10 and I'll keep buying it and don't realize that it has a dick by the time I'm taking it home. No. Man, fuck you, Jason. Goddamn.
He's on a roll.
Sorry, you told me not to mention that, but I did.
It only happened twice, man. I've learned my lesson. No, I'm the kind of guy where sometimes it has a dick, but also, I'll have spent like $80 on that dick without knowing it by the time it's done, because you keep telling me, look, it's cheap. Oh, it's just $10. It's just $10. Oh man, come on, you got $10 on you. Oh, what's $10? And I don't realize that I've like spent $10 10 times over, and I've spent $100 on a game that where normally I probably would have spent like $60 on something. I think that they can get people like that. It's the whole thing of, it's only $99.99 when it's $100 really when you think about it. But because you keep offering something that's cheaper to someone, they're going to keep buying into it.
These types of downloadable content, these DLCs, is quite rare. Like for a whole big mission, with Undead Nightmare.
Apparently, I need Nick's Magic PS3 or whatever he's got.
The gay one that gives you unicorns with rainbows coming out of it. We'll see what happens. We're gonna wrap this up, but we'll see what happens. I mean, you've got two attitudes here, several attitudes. I mean, some people they don't know. I'm kind of positive for this, and I think that you have Kevin who's saying this is probably this is a fad. So
I did not say
as I put
I'm the one who just said that the whole thing's going to become downloadable content. I completely think it's the future of all of it. But I just think that it's very difficult for a game player, consumer, whatever you want to call it, to know if that DLC is quality or not.
Well, it's just like with a game, Wait for the reviews.
You're right.
Kevin's like, this whole internet thing, that's a fad.
Thanks, Prince.
Anyway, y'all, we'll see what happens, but check out the game, people, if you haven't. It's a lot of fun. I went out and got the game, the $60 version, just to play this zombie version of it, and I don't regret it at all. It's been a lot of fun.
You've got to play the original game, mate, because that is just genius on its own, if you like westerns.
I will. I'll let me borrow your copy so I can get the gay version of it and see what that's like.
Shut it.